What's going on, guys? Chaseontwowheels here, and in front of me I have, thanks to the people at Buell, a 2024 Buell 1190 Hammerhead, or Hammerhead 1190. Buell is letting us loan this bike to do some content on, and guys, what you're looking at is America's, I think, only home-built supersport. This thing is absolutely stoked. The eagles are flying. The flag is waving somewhere. And today is going to be an awesome first ride. I don't have a ton of experience on Buells, so I cannot wait to get this one started. But it's a first ride. We got to start off with seeing what it looks like and what it sounds like. You guys stick around to the end of the video, and I'll tell you if it's a purchase or a pass. Let's get this one going. God almighty. Did you guys know y'all can get a discount on a Cardo Bluetooth in the description down below if you use the code Cardo? It's the best stuff on the market. Grab one if you need it. Alright guys, that's what it looks like. That's what it sounds like. Sounds crazy, right? Speaking of things that sound crazy, guys, this video is not sponsored. It is supported by our website, wbrgarage.com. That's basically where we give motorcycles away after we make some content on them. We are currently giving away a CF Moto 450 SS as well as a CF Moto 300 SS. If you guys want a motorcycle for stupid cheap, you guys can check out the top link in the description. Not going to go into how to do it. The website tells you all of that stuff. It's all automated and it don't cost a lot of money. So, enjoy yourself winning some motorcycles. And guys, I got a first try to do. Unfortunately, I have no place to put my quad luggage, so I've just got the phone in the pocket. Let's get this leg thrown over. Alrighty, guys. Woo, that seat is hot. Alrighty, so guys, I'm 5'10", got a 32-inch inseam, and as you can see, I've got pretty bent legs on this bike, which is pretty surprising for a super sport. Let's get it cranked up. The sound of this bike is nuts. I hope that this video does it justice. I don't think it will, but hopefully it will. So guys, as far as rider modes real quick, there are none. We actually have a cable actuated throttle, which is fantastic. I'm so excited. We do have a rider aid. We have traction control, and we have 20 levels of it. If you hit the enter, or what is it, up button? Yeah, that's our menu. We can hit enter, and then we go here. So we've got 20 different levels of traction control. It tells me street riding mode is dry to medium grip. So I've got a traction control on 7. I'm going to keep it there for the extent of this video. No reason to go crazy on modes. Okay, I think that's all we got to say, guys. Let's get this video going. Also, my friends, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've totally given up on YouTube sending you guys notifications of when our videos go live. So if you want to join our email list, we send you an email once a week just letting you know what's going on with the Future of channel, maybe some sneaking in some stuff that you guys can know that's secret. If you guys want to check those out, there will be a link in the description to sign up. It doesn't cost anything, and would love to hang out with you every week. And email for them. I don't know how much you guys email. I know I email way too much, though. Also, you guys will notice I am on an absolute picturesque, beautiful day today. The day we shot the camera car footage for this bike, it was not as pretty. So if you notice some differences, that is why. Also, if I just ruined the fact that we do 2 runs for you and that's how we get our camera car footage, I am sorry, but now I can go. Oh my goodness. From the get-go, I mean, I guess that's what you get with no power modes, right? It's just all the bike on you. Oh, this thing's gonna be fun. Thank God it's dry out today. Guys, I've looked online and I can't find the answer to this, but I've noticed that when I put this bike into neutral, the revs change so much, it makes me feel like there's like rear cylinder deactivation in neutral or something. Keep watching it throughout this video. Anyway, guys, let's get this first ride started. Buell's Hammerhead. It's not a Harley Hammerhead. It's not an EBR Hammerhead. It is a Buell Motorcycles Hammerhead. I'm not going to go into the history of Buell because that's just outside the scope of this video. Basically, it used to be part of Harley. Now it's independent. And here we have this bike. We have a naked model. They're working on a cruiser. It looks like Buell's got a lot of really cool stuff in the works. I'm excited to ride this one. I am excited to ride more of them, hopefully, if they keep sending us stuff. So let's get into this thing, guys. It is a first ride. Let's start off with body position. So we are looking at a super sport motorcycle. My legs are very tucked up. They are poised, is, you know, the word I like to use. My upper body is leaned all the way over on the handlebars. And I was a little worried about this seat when the bike first showed up, because the seat looks like it's a piece of cardboard and it doesn't look great. But I was massively surprised at how comfortable the seat is. It might be one of the most comfortable seats I've sat on a super sport. But the body position is very racy. It is not going to be a comfort bike or anything like that. So keep that in mind. Overall, I'm very happy with the body position. It's exactly what I want on a bike like this. And it feels really good. I feel like I'm ready for a track day. So that's pretty solid. Oh my God. Do I have ABS? It didn't feel like I had ABS. Does this bike have no ABS? Hold on. There's no shot, right? I can't tell. I don't want to test it on the front, though. I'll tell you that. It felt like the rear wheel was sliding out, but I'm not a professional and couldn't really tell. I was going too slow. You hear that? You hear that rev change? It's got to have rear cylinder deactivation, and this bike is already getting hot. I will keep you guys updated with the heat as we go, but it does not like standing still, it seems. All right, guys, let's talk numbers for a second. So we got a V-twin, an 1190 V-twin powering the Hammerhead. That is going to be good for about 82 horsepower and 102 foot-pounds of torque. So 182 and 102 for horsepower and torque. So, as you guys can tell, these are super sport numbers. We are getting close to 200 horsepower on this thing. And to have no rider modes on this with that level of power, especially out of a twin, is fascinating to me, because typically a bike that's this powerful, that it almost requires rider modes, which is why I'm happy to see traction control. I'm surprised it doesn't have any rider modes, but I'm interested to see how that's going to affect the ride of the motorcycle, because there's nothing getting between you and the ride. So that should be pretty fascinating. So let's touch on city riding, a place that I don't recommend getting this bike for, but it can definitely handle it. Now, the question is it too powerful for the city? I mean, the obvious answer is yes. There's way too much power here to utilize it all. One of the things you guys are going to notice if you get this thing and ride around the city is you are very much going to be chilling in, you know, first or second. This bike can rev so high, there's really no point in shifting once you get to like second gear. You're just kind of chilling. The very tucked up leg position is going to be a little annoying when you come to a stop. So you're going to have to get your leg untucked and on the ground. It's very much a body position made for track days. It's not that great for the city. Although I will say the mirrors are great, so I've got really good visibility. I've been super happy with that. And the throttle is actually, there is a great connection between the rider and the throttle and the power delivery on this bike. So much so that I was kind of shocked. Because when I saw no rider aids, I was like, that's a little worrisome with that much power. But in my experience, everything has been very controllable and very precise on this bike. And I haven't had any problems with it. So a super sport bike in general is going to be shit on the city. But I've had no problems. And as far as steering, I mean, it's quick, boy. It is, this bike does come in at a weight of 421 pounds. I'm not really sure how that compares to other bikes in the category, but I feel like this bike just, it feels stable. You know what I mean? It's not super lightweight and flicky. It's just very easy to change direction as long as you got any level of speed underneath you. Since we're coming to a stop and now going, I will say the clutch is a bit heavy. I prefer a heavier clutch. You know, I like feeling the engine. So I'm really happy with that clutch. But again, if you are going to be riding in the city, you are your fingers could get tired if you got in a lot of stop and go traffic. But it kind of depends on your preference there. For a bike like this, that's the kind of clutch I would expect, and that's just the clutch I was given. I gotta stop. I literally gotta stop before I get in a wreck. God, that connection feels so good. Oh, we get the green? Oh, lucky me today. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, dude. Twins? Twins, I win. That's my new slogan. I think I love twins. I love parallel twins. I love V-twins. I love all the twins. You get so much fun riding twins around. You come out of a turn and the power is just like,
you let me know when you're ready to F some S up and we will be gone.
Especially on a bike with 102 horsepower. Are you kidding me? I don't know how Buell made a bike with 182 horsepower and 102 foot-pounds of torque be this controllable. That throttle is fantastic. It's got a lot of weight behind it, but it allows me to make just the most minute adjustments, and maybe that's because it's cable actuated and there's no electronics stopping it, but I cannot accurately describe to you guys how good this bike feels connection-wise between what I'm asking it to do and what it does with the throttle. Oh my God. Yes! Yes! This is, oh my God, this is what you want. Like, I want these people to go, but this is, in my dreams, this is what a bike feels like. I can feel every little thing the bike wants to do through the throttle. There's no play, there's no nothing. That throttle is just an open window straight to the freaking engine for me to make my order, and then boom, like a freaking McDonald's hamburger, it's just out in seconds. I love that. What I don't love and what I have been nervous about for this entire thing is the 40 to 80 pull that we now have to do. You guys know every first ride, I got to see how fast these bikes will get from 40 miles an hour to 80 miles an hour. Thanks for our lovely people over at Law Tigers. They're the motorcycle lawyer friends that partner up with us to do this. I don't even know what gear to do this in. I'm going to be 100% with you guys. It's a torquey bike, so I'm like maybe second, but maybe I can rev out first. God, this is so stupid. I hope I don't regret doing this. But if I do, I've got Law Tigers. Yay. Alright, we're going to do first gear. Alright guys, 40 to 80 on a 2024 Buell Hammerhead. God, I'm scooting back. On your mark. I am terrified to do this. On your mark. Kid said. Go. That is more controllable than it should be. I think that was a second gear move. I think that was the second gear. I lost some power up higher in the revs. What was the time on that, Chris? I'm pretty sure I could beat it. All right, guys, we're here on the highway with the Hammerhead. Right now, let me get tucked in. You know, I thought the windscreen was too low, but now that I'm tucking in on the highway, it's actually pretty solid. I feel like I can get in a good little bubble there. So no problems with that. As far as power goes, we're in 5th. Anytime I want power, I just ask for it. It's not as much as I really thought it would be. I thought it would kind of be rip my face off. I wonder if I'm in 4th. Will that be more power? Yes, that will throw me back in the seat. Okay, that's what I was expecting. So yeah, power's good on the highway, guys. I can go up in 6th gear and kind of chill. As far as maneuverability on the highway, it's still here, man. It's methodical. This bike is not one of those like just feathery, whiffed it back and forth things. You gotta want this bike to go in a direction, but the level of stability that it has going in that direction is very confidence inspiring. I am a fan of that, and it kind of matches the power of the bike as well. I'm here for it. We've got no cruise control, obviously. I don't think any of you guys are gonna expect that on a bike like this, but I'm chilling. Honestly, you know, I can get my legs holding the tank, I can lean back. I could go on the highway for quite a while on this thing. This is where I think if you guys are used to regular super sports, you might be a little let down on the Buell because it is a little torquey and less horsepowery. And, you know, a bike like an R1, you get it on the highway, you start revving it out, especially like the R1M. You start revving it out and you're gonna get rewarded for revving that bike out. You're not really gonna have that on the Buell here, so as long as you come into it with that expectation, I think you'll be all right. But as far as stability goes, I'm gonna get a lot of shaking in my feet, a little bit of shaking in my feet. I'm gonna get a little bit of shaking in my handlebars. Luckily, the mirrors are doing a still good job, so it's not shaking too much, so I can see all the stuff going on behind me. Overall, solid showing for the highway. Because I'm gonna finish up the highway at Wool Creek, we're gonna jump to a montage thanks to our buddies over at Cardo, and I'll see you in a second. Back off a little bit. I want to get this thing leaned over in this turn to see how she feels. Also, thank you, Cardo, for sponsoring the First Ride Show. If you guys want to get a discount on Cardos, we got links in the description for you. I'm also got this on loan, guys, so I am going to do a track day with it. So this is only a teaser. You guys subscribe if you want to see the actual track day of it. But let's get it leaned over. I love a stable platform, baby. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna run into the back seat of that Honda. You know, the seat does a surprisingly good job of being so, that's a keep going, bud. The seat does a surprising job of letting me get comfortable while I'm regular riding, but then also allow me to move back and forth. So the material choice on the seat I really appreciate, and I think I'm gonna appreciate even more when I get to the track on this thing. Whenever we get a green light, I want you guys to listen to the engine. Right now we're revving it like 1500, 1700, something like that. Watch what happens when I click it out of neutral. Now we're up by a few hundred revs. You know what I'm saying? It's got to have rear cylinder deactivation. That is not stopping it from getting warm, though. So now that I've got some highway experience and I've got some city experience, I have to say, this bike is strange. I'm in the body position and my brain almost expects me to be on a very rev-happy bike, but then I start riding it and my brain very quickly switches over to, no, this is a twin, this is a torquey thing. This wants you to be low in the revs and then gun it, and then it throw you to the back of the seat. It is so strange to ride a bike like that because it's so much easier to ride a bike like this. Well, I shouldn't say easier. It's so much more fun to ride a bike like this to me because your power is ready to go when you are. when you got to rev a bike out, you actually have to work for it. You got to get the revs up, or you shift down a couple gears or something like that. Not with a twin. And that is what I'm being reminded on this. So I'm having this weird thing going on of like, oh, we're on the highway, we should start going fast now. It's like, nah, dude, we're on the highway, we're chill now. Maybe it's the fans blowing the heat directly at my leg. Something is happening where this bike is like getting Panigale levels of hot. It's like a 9 out of 10. All right, so guys, engine's fantastic. I love the torquey feel of this. Let's talk about the transmission now. Transmission seems to be spread out pretty nicely. I feel like I can rev the bike out far more than I need to, so I end up short shifting to stay in the power range that I really want to be like drug along with this bike. Now, as far as shifting through the transmission, I will say it's supposed to have a quick shifter on it, and the quick shifter just seems to have to be in the right place at the right time to work. Sometimes it works, but right now it's not. So I don't know what the parameters for the quick shifter are, but in my experience, it hasn't worked every single time like I want it to. So I end up just like blipping the throttle or just using the clutch. I've had no problem with that. The transmission is very punchy though. When you shift gears, you can feel that all the way through the motorcycle. And it's very just pop, 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 if that makes sense. Now, the brakes are a pretty interesting situation. You guys probably saw on the very front of the bike, we have our brake rotor around the outside of the kind of inner part of the wheel, and I'll show you guys off the bike here in a little while. But it's very different than what you see on most other bikes, and there's only one rotor on the front. So, wow, just nobody cares about that red light, huh? When I first saw this bike and it got dropped off, I was like, one rotor, huh? On a Supersport. Okay, that's a choice. We're going. I was kind of worried. I was thinking that was not going to be enough braking power, but so far in the city setting, I have had absolutely no issues with braking. I even got a pretty good feel in the lever and everything, so that kind of worry has far gone. Although, I don't really think about that anymore because my Sportster S, my Harley-Davidson Sportster S, it also has one rotor up front, and I was like, there's no way you're going to stop this big-ass bike. I mean, relative, right? There's no way you're going to stop this big-ass bike with just one rotor. And it can with no problem. So my myths of like one rotor stopping kind of went away then. All right, so let's talk about the cluster up here. Pretty basic, honestly. There is nothing fancy going on. We have just the regular controls here. We got, high beam, low beam, turn signals, and a horn. And then we got our adjustable levers. They are adjustable. I do appreciate that. And the controls up here kind of speak for this motorcycle. It is a simple, no frills, go ride and have fun bike and go fast doing it type thing is what it's giving me. Nothing fancy here. We've got a steering damper, which I do appreciate. It's got a fantastic adjustable show of big piston front forks. Great suspension on this bike so far. The screen, though, a little old looking. As you guys saw when we started the video, I got to get my hand all the way up here to adjust the stuff on that screen. It's dim, it's hard to see. There's nothing fancy about it at all. And the weird thing is, I don't care a single bit. The closest thing I can do to comparing this bike to something I've ridden before, and just so you guys understand, I've been doing first rides on bikes for about 10 years now. What this bike feels like is old school Ducati Supersports. It was before this kind of like a new era Ducati where they're very refined. This bike is shaky and grunty and makes a lot of noises, and you can literally feel this bike like while riding it. A lot of bikes are not like that these days. A lot of bikes it's more of you're riding a phenomenal machine, but the way you're riding it is by requesting things from a computer. And some companies do that better than others, but there is no denying the difference when you have a distinct connection with a motorcycle. I believe that this is why the MT-07 is as popular as it is, because it, on a much smaller scale, is like this. It's very connected to the rider. Everything this bike has going for it, the shaking, the noise, the ride, everything is this just unadulterated American super sport. And, you know, calling it an American super sport, that's what it feels like. It's this unrefined, grunty, kind of terrifying experience that I honestly haven't got to have on a motorcycle in years. Since Ducati was like, you know, the old school Ducati's just like, hey, is this thing going to keep going? Like, is it going to make it through this first ride? Not that I'm having those thoughts on this bike, but it was back in those days where, you know, the bike was just actively trying to kill you. And it added a level of excitement on the ride. And I'm kind of getting some of that on this. Also, side note, I hate the rear brake. It is about that thin, and I can barely get to it, and my foot hits the fairing before I get to the rear brake. All right, guys, I know y'all been looking at the bike with our camera car footage, and also thanks to our sponsors. That is how we afford to get all that camera car footage for you guys. So you guys supporting them directly supports us, and we massively appreciate it. But I'm going to pull off up here, and we're going to do a little walk around of the Buell Hammerhead. It is a very stunning looking motorcycle, and I want to point some stuff out to you guys that I am a big fan of. That sound, that feeling. Oh my goodness. I love it. I love it. I love it. This bike has no business being this controllable in low speeds, especially with that level of torque. This thing should be just like all over the place, but the throttle control is so good that it's easy. It's easy with no problem. Dude, when you put this bike in neutral and the revs go down, you can feel the thumping of this engine in your balls. I swear to God. It's like it's like a secondary heartbeat. Sorry, ladies, if you can't understand, but you know, you get it, you get it. Not a fan of the kickstand either. All right, check this out. So, kickstand is tucked up under there, and I personally have a hard time getting it, and I don't like my kickstand sounding like this. It just seems like it's not going to hold the bike. The bike feels super stable when I lean it over, so no problems technically, but, you know, just weird feeling. So there we go, guys. That's our 2024 Buell Hammerhead. We have carbon fairings. We have a perimeter rotor. This is what I was talking about earlier about the brakes. The rotor along the outside of the wheel, and we have brake ducts. How cool is that? So those are there to funnel air into the brake to cool it down. Pretty crazy looking. Surprised we don't have LEDs, but it is what it is. Oh, by the way, this bike has a starting price of around $19,000 or $20,000, so I kind of expected it to be a little more expensive than that. Also, another very strange thing with Buells, and this has been a thing about Buells for the longest time. So this is your gas tank, obviously, your filler area. The gas tank for this bike is in the frame of the motorcycle. So when you put gas in here, it holds it inside the frame. How cool is that? Absolutely nuts. But check out the exhaust. How freaking hilarious is that? I absolutely love it. And guys, with that perimeter rotor, you couldn't really see on the front, but look at the wheels on this thing. So it's got like a 3-spoke wheel, and it's almost, they're like turned on the inside. Just a strange wheel. Absolutely cool looking. Just something that turns heads. So if you look at the tail, we have no tail light in the tail. It actually puts it in here, similar to the GSX 8R, where there's no light there. So if you wanted to take this to the track, you could literally just rip this whole thing out and you'd be solid, good to go. We've got our adjustable suspension in the rear. I mentioned the carbon fairings, and just look at the look on this bike. They call it a hammerhead, and I kind of love it with like the fins on the side. Such a good looking bike. Check the seat out though. From here, You guys cannot tell me that that seat looks like it's soft at all, especially with the angles, but then you touch it and you're like, oh, it's actually a soft seat. That's surprising. Fantastic grip. If I was going to buy this motorcycle, I would get some tank grips here, just because like holding this kind of slick material is a little hard, especially if you're going to go to the track or something like that. But anyways, guys, that's the Buell Hammerhead. They've got some crazy colors. They've got like a, I forget what they call it, patriotic, looks like this, all red, white, and blue and stuff. I love that they're embracing their Americanness. It's pretty fantastic. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my phone, not on my quad lock, and I'm going to do some video for our peeps over on TikTok and Instagram. We are at C2WPics on Instagram, and we're at Chaseontwowheels on TikTok. If you want to check that content out, check us out over there, and otherwise, I'll be right back. All right, my friends, social media stuff is done. Now we have to decide, is this a purchase or pass? But before I give you guys the goods, we have to talk about who is the bike for and do a steering stem lock test, which on a supersport is going to be hilarious. And when I say hilarious, I do mean bad. My ass is roasting. Oh my God. We're going to start doing this in the shade. All right. Handlebars are locked. This is going to be so bad. At least I'm getting in the shade. You know, it's kind of on par for a super sport, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't expect much out of you, Buell. It's okay. When you get going, that air is actually cool still, thank God. It's gonna get a lot rougher later in the year. Alright guys, purchase or pass? Let's decide. Alright, my friends, it's time to make that decision of purchase or pass. And on this one, with an asterisk, I say pass. As your first bike. Okay, not your first bike, your only bike. Alright, so I said pass, but I've been giggling the whole time. Chase, por qué? Why? So, one, this is a very cool motorcycle. You do not see a lot of people with them. And if I did more track days, I would be all about this. But a lot of you guys know I'm transitioning out of my sport bike era. So I don't really have a use for this motorcycle. And I think a lot of bikes out there will probably perform better than this bike. The person that needs to get this bike over anything else in the market is somebody, obviously, that has riding experience. Nobody should be buying this bike without riding experience because no rider aids. You don't got rain mode to, like, you know, tone it down until you get used to it. So you got to be an experienced rider. It's really not that expensive based on the market. So the pricing is actually fantastic. But the ideal person I feel like would really get the most out of this bike is somebody that likes to ride technical stuff. Obviously, you're going to be in a more aggressive body position. You know, going to the mountains is going to be very fun on this motorcycle. But it goes beyond that, because if somebody was just going to do that, there's lots of Japanese bikes, lots of Euro bikes that can do that. Something you have to want for this bike to be ideal for you is not exclusivity, but uniqueness. Everybody can buy a Ducati, everybody can buy a KTM, everybody can buy a Yamaha. Very few people buy a Buell, and from the very short time we've had this bike, we have parked it next to some extraordinarily cool bikes, some very expensive stuff, and everybody's eye always goes to the Hammerhead. So this bike has a specific presence about it, and that makes it a very unique bike. That piques people's interest. So if you're looking for a sporty motorcycle that's American made, and you want to have a bike that people are like, whoa, what is that? This is the bike for you. I love the ride, like, you know, getting away from the kind of uniqueness of it, the ride of this bike is so good. It's thumpy, it's shaky, it's fast, it's torquey. It is just bumping, and the level of feel that I get in the throttle on this bike is easily in the top 3 throttles that I've ever experienced. Like, the magic of this bike for me personally is right here. The connection of this thing to that thing. They have done something more than the normal. And maybe it's just the type of power the engine's putting out and the type of throttle with it being a cable actuated. But Jiminy freaking Christmas. Other motorcycle manufacturers should take into account that. I would love to see more bikes feel like this. You know, some bikes can feel really technical. That's cool. They should. You know, BMW is a company that I instantly think of that they have bikes that feel very much, you know, user input requested through a computer. And I feel like this bike is the literal polar opposite. So if you're looking for something like that, there's not many super sports, in my opinion, that give me this much of a visceral, old school feel in a 2024 bike. It's kind of neat. Anyways, guys, that's all I've got for the Buell. Thank you so much, Buell, for allowing us to loan this bike out. I cannot wait to make more content on it. I cannot wait to take it to the track. We will be doing track content on this bike. You guys just stay subscribed for it, and we will put it out eventually. I'm not sure when that video will be. And if you made it to this point in the video, thank you, for one. It's awesome. It really helps the channel out when you guys watch the entire video, so I massively appreciate that. But you guys let me know, when it comes to motorcycles, you know, Buell's got the whole American-made thing. I think that's really cool, mostly because there's just not a ton of motorcycle companies that are in America making super sports. But y'all let me know, does that matter at all to you? You know, the location of the manufacturer. Is it American? Is it German? Is it Japanese, Chinese, whatever? You guys let me know how much of a deal that is to you in the comments down below. I'd love to have a conversation with y'all down there about it. And guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. This has been the Chaseontwowheels First Ride. I'll have a link for a First Ride playlist if you guys want to see more in the comments down below. Other than that, you guys ride safe. I'll see you on the next one. Later. This might have been the best feeling first ride that I've ever said pass on. I guess I should have said pass for me. But man, somebody's gonna buy these bikes and love the piss out of them. I am excited for those people.